right. She hasn't announced. You're putting, let's see. Let's see if she's. Okay. I'm going to have to reconnect because we don't have the interpreter.
Okay.
So Orange County, I'm going to end this and reconnect.
Okay.
Because it's showing Osceola.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Alan Figueroa, certified Spanish Court interpreter.
Good morning. We're just about to begin the Orange County initial appearances. The first gentleman will, I believe, need your services. Let me just get some audio with them. All right, BRC, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Also, the victim, she needs a Spanish interpreter as well.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The victim will need a Spanish interpreter as well.
The next one, is that what you said?
The victim for Elmer needs a
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. All right, sir, what is your name?
Elmer Alexander González Luis.
Elmer Alexander González Ruiz.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, you're charged with battery arising out of domestic violence. Is there a victim present?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can the victim hear me? To the interpreter, I'm told the victim also needs a Spanish interpreter.
Okay. Señora, ¿me puede escuchar?
Sí,
The victim can hear me, Your Honor.
All right, would the victim please state your name?
Diga su nombre, por favor.
Brayley López González.
¿Me lo repite?
Brayley Elizabeth López González.
De Elizabeth López González.
And what is your relationship to Elmer Alexander Gonzalez?
¿Cuál es su parentesco con el señor Elmer Alexander?
¿Perdón?
¿Cuál es su parentesco o relación con el señor Elmer Alexander González?
Somos pareja.
We're a couple.
Okay, what is your birth date?
¿Cuál es su fecha de nacimiento?
El 27 de noviembre del 2000.
November 27th of 2000.
Please raise your right hand and the clerk will swear you in.
Levante la mano derecha para prestar juramento, por favor.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
¿Jura decir la verdad, solo la verdad y nada más que la verdad? ¿Lo jura ante Dios?
Sí.
Yes.
Has everything you told me regarding your name, birth date, and relationship to Mr. Gonzalez been true?
Y todo lo que usted me ha dicho hasta el momento, su nombre, su relación con el señor Elmer González y su fecha de nacimiento ha sido correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you the alleged victim of the domestic violence?
¿Y es usted la supuesta víctima de esta violencia doméstica?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you in fear of any harm if Mr. Gonzalez is released?
¿Siente usted algún tipo de temor si acaso el señor González queda en libertad?
No.
No.
Do you live with Mr. Gonzalez?
¿Vive usted con el señor González?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you in fear of any harm if Mr. Gonzalez returns home?
¿Siente usted temor de sufrir algún daño si el señor González regresa a la casa?
No.
No.
Do you want him to return home?
¿Usted desea que él regrese a la casa?
Sí.
Yes.
State, do you have any questions?
¿Fiscalía, alguna pregunta?
No, Your Honor.
No, su señoría.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Gonzalez, it looks like you do qualify for pretrial release. Is that correct, PTR?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so he's going to be released on PTR. No hostile contact with the victim.
Bien, señor González. Usted queda en libertad provisional. Se le prohíbe el contacto hostil con la víctima.
All right, and before we leave, I'm not sure if we put everybody's appearance on the record, so I'm going to start with the state
Stephen Fleming for the state.
defense
Jace Thompson for the opposite public defender.
and PTR.
Lakeisha Williams.
All right, thank you. All right, the public defender is appointed, and you are going to be PTR'd, no hostile contact with the victim. Thank you, sir. Are there any other inmates that require a Spanish interpreter, if you know?
No, we have one that needs a Portuguese interpreter.
All right, and does does he or she understand Spanish?
Let me check.
Just Portuguese, Your Honor. Only Portuguese.
All right, thank you. To the Spanish interpreter, we're told there are no other individuals that will need your services.
Not a problem, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, we're looking for Roberto Cao, C-A-I-O, last name Nascimento. What is your name, sir? Is this the, all right, is this the individual that needs the Portuguese interpreter?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please.
Okay, one moment. Is overhead or? Is the interpreter appearing on the language line overhead, or do we need to call and add her or him? Are you able to hear the interpreter at BRC?
Your Honor, well, no one is on the line as of yet. Normally it's overhead, normally.
Right. Okay. I have interpreter here. Let's see if this is it. She has to answer. Language line, usually the clerk connects in my courtroom, so I'm not involved in it.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Ali Figueroa back on the line.
Hi, we're trying to connect with the Portuguese interpreter.
Was a Portuguese interpreter scheduled for today, Your Honor? Was the interpreter's department informed of it? Because we don't have Portuguese interpreters ready available in the office. That's only for Spanish. Any other language has to be requested
Right.
in advance.
Right, we're aware of that. We've been in touch, and we're trying to figure out how to connect the interpreter to our system through the language line.
Oh, okay. Language line is a separate thing, Your Honor, is through the phone.
That's what I thought. Yes, thank you, sir. We're gonna.
Not a problem, Your Honor.
I think you have to do it through there.
I did. Hold him, I got him on hold.
Can you put him through our overhead?
They normally push talk, and that's on the head. I don't know.
That's going to get us a Spanish one.
Maybe video.
See, when I use the language line, the clerk plugs it through this speaker here.
Right. You call on the phone. It's something called talk in the corner for them.
Talk in the corner?
Yeah. Well, at BRC, that's how it works. Video conference, what is that? Would it come on video or would it be on the phone?
Video. So, all right. So we're having difficulty how to connect the interpreter. we could recall this case, and I can see if I can get some instruction on it. I think that's what we're going to have to do.
Your Honor?
That's where I just was.
Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
If you speak slowly, he said he could try to see if he could understand in Spanish.
Okay.
English.
Well, we will try. What is your name?
My name is Caio. Nascimento.
Your first name?
First name is Caio, middle name is Roberto, and last name is Nascimento.
You are charged with moving traffic violation, operating a motor vehicle without a license. Did you understand that?
Yeah, I don't have a driver license.
Okay, that's fine. I'm appointing the public defender to represent you. It looks like he qualifies for PTR. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Honor, because this is such a low-level offense, would the court have any objection to an ROR in this case?
State?
What is the offense? I'm sorry.
Driving without a valid license. Okay. All right. By consent and looking at his history, he has no out-of-state, no Florida arrests, no Florida convictions. I'm going to grant an ROR. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Abdelaziz Hamad. What is your name?
Jamila Rashdi.
What is your name, sir?
Your Honor, step back a little. Your Honor, this inmate, he cannot speak.
Oh, he needs a sign language interpreter?
No, he don't do sign language, Your Honor. He had a medical procedure but he just can't talk.
All right. Sir, would you nod your head yes to or no to my questions? Can you do that? Yes. He nodded yes. Are you Abdelaziz Hamad? And he shook his head yes. And you are charged, sir, with battery arising from domestic violence. The public defender is appointed to represent you. This is a case where the victim was also charged.
She's here, Your Honor.
Is the victim in the back?
No,
Yes.
Your Honor, she's in the box.
Yes, I
He's in
am
the
here.
Okay. Would the victim please state your name?
Jamila Rashdi,
What is your relationship to Mr. Hamad?
ex-wife.
Okay. Would you raise your right hand to be sworn in?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
What is your birth date?
December 7, 1960.
Are you the alleged victim?
Yes.
Right. Do you have any fear of harm or imminent violence if Mr. Hamad is released?
No.
Do you reside with Mr. Hamad?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any fear of imminent harm if he is released and returns home?
No, not at all.
Okay. State, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any questions?
I just wanted to know, madam, will you be helping him post his bond today?
Yes.
So it'll benefit you a great deal if that bond was as low as possible. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's all, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to set a bond at $250. Release?
Your Honor,
Yes.
he qualifies for PTR.
He does? Okay, I missed that. If he qualifies for PTR, then he's granted PTR.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You have
All
any
right, yeah,
conditions?
that's not, I don't have that.
Any conditions, Your Honor?
The condition is no hostile contact with the victim. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Daniel Cisneros.
When can I start?
What is your name?
Daniel Antonio Cisneros Pineda.
Right, you are charged with trespass on a property after warning and possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I did find probable cause. I am appointing the public defender to represent you. You are also out on bond, it looks like, and that is being revoked. Your bond in the new charge of trespass of the property is $500. The possession of cannabis bond is $100. Condition of release is no return to the racetrack located at 350 West Sand Lake Road.
I swear that is never gonna happen.
All right, thank you, sir.
What is he out on bond for?
According to my paperwork, it doesn't really say. It's a misdemeanor. It's a $100 bond.
I was wondering if there was
Resisting.
a,
Your Honor, is resisting officer without violence.
Okay. All right, thank you. Robert Earl Kelly.
Yes.
What is your name, sir?
Robert Kelly?
Mr. Kelly, you are charged with trespass on the property after a warning and resisting an officer without violence. There is probable cause. You are appointed the public defender. Your bond on the first charge is $500, on the second is $100, and conditions of release is no return to the Salvation Army location. Thank you, sir. Markel Jamal Graham. What is your name?
Markel Jamal Graham.
You've been charged with burglary of an unoccupied dwelling and criminal mischief greater than 200, less than 1,000.
Ma'am.
The public defender is appointed to represent you. On the first charge, your bond is $2,500. On the second charge, it's $100. It looks like he's also out on bond.
I don't have any more money to bond out, ma'am. All I have is a few dollars on my card. And then
All right, so what's going
listen, my fiance has proof of the.
Okay, so let me just confirm you understand your rights.
Yes,
You have a
ma'am.
right to remain silent. And I want you to understand this proceeding is recorded.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything you say can be used against you, not only today, but throughout this proceeding and in any other case, criminal and civil.
Yes,
There is
ma'am.
a state attorney present. You have a lawyer who's appointed to represent you who is also here. So I would urge your
I would
attorney
like to
to
speak.
advise you.
I would like to speak for myself.
Defense?
Your Honor, I would advise the client not to say anything. However, since I am unable to prevent him from speaking, if he would like to go further, I would like to put on record that despite my
I
legal
would like
advice,
to speak.
my client would like. Hold on, sir. I would like to state on the record, despite my legal advice, my client would like to address the court.
All right, sir, could you hear your attorney?
Yes, ma'am, but I would like to disregard what he said. I would like to speak for myself because I have video proof that shows that I'm not the one that discarded that door. It was already like that before I got out. That's the same house that I was arrested from. The public.
This is all important information for you to give to your attorney. That can't be addressed today.
But I'm supposed to be showing up for work. I'm supposed to show up for work tomorrow. I mean,
Can you have an
yesterday.
attorney contact him?
I'm supposed to
All right.
show up for
The
work
public
yesterday.
defender is going to have an attorney contact you, okay, to address your concerns and get you back in front of a judge. All right? I did.
So I saw, is my bond revoked or can I bond out?
No, it is revoked. Your attorney's going to contact you to get that addressed, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Sonia Reyes. This is a reset for medical.
She's behaving, Your Honor.
All right, so it'll be reset till tomorrow.
Sorry, that one.
It is Sonia Reyes,
Your Honor, what's the charge?
criminal mischief, less than $200.
I would go ahead and just I would wait for her.
Less than 200. Okay, so her appearance is being waived. The public defender is being appointed to represent her.
I would ask if her record is conducive for an ROR or.
She does not qualify for ROR.
Okay, I'll just ask for like $100 bond.
The bond recommended is 500. State, do you have a position?
To follow the recommendation, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm not going to change it looking at her past convictions on the
Okay, thank you.
information. All right, you're welcome. So bond is set as $500. No contact with the victim. All right, thank you. All right, would you state your name, please?
Juan Gillespie.
All right, Mr. Gillespie, you're here under a warrant signed by Judge Myers, where you were charged with RICO, conspiracy and RICO, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device for which Judge Myers found probable cause and set your bond on the first count at $10,000, on the second count at $10,000, and on the third count at $500.
Your Honor, could I address the probable cause on count 2 there, the conspiracy?
Okay, give me just 1 minute to go through the charges. Okay, are you requesting the public defender?
No, Your Honor.
All right. For today, though, there is a public defender in the courtroom, and I'm going to have him represent you for this proceeding only, and then you can determine if you need to obtain private counsel or continue. Okay. So it's I'm going to give a temporary appointment. Okay. Because of the nature of the charges, public defender, I'm going to ask that you represent him at this hearing. Okay. All right. There's also an arrest affidavit where you're charged with human trafficking. Do you want the charge read?
No, Judge, I know what it is, and that's there's no probable cause for that either. So
I understand your position. Okay, do you want the charge read, or do you want to waive reading?
I'll waive reading, Judge.
Okay, and he's waiving reading. Okay. So I'm going, based on the public defender and the inmate's request, defendant's request, I am going to waive reading of the other charge. I did find probable cause for the charge based on the affidavit, which is what I have to go on at this point, Mr. Gillespie. You are entitled to have a bond set today on that. And State, do you want to be heard?
Your Honor, Mary Salmon with the Office of Statewide Prosecution. I'm here at the jail. There was some confusion as to where I should go for the IAs. Mr. Gillespie is charged with a life felony, and therefore, based on the affidavit, if Your Honor was able to review the affidavits in its entirety, not just the one for the human trafficking, but as well as the affidavits for the RICO and conspiracy to RICO. Those in itself establish proof evident presumption great, and therefore the state would ask that Your Honor leave the bond at no bond with regards to the human trafficking of a juvenile charge.
Okay. Defense?
Your Honor, until further, at this present time, they're just allegations. Until further investigations are conducted.
Your Honor, I don't want the public defender appointed for this.
And more substantial proof is collected. I would just ask that the court not find proof evident presumption great and just to set a monetary bond in this case. And I understand that bond will probably be on the higher end.
Mr. Gillespie, you do have the right to be heard, but I just want to remind you of your rights. I understand your profession in reading this, and do you know he's an attorney?
Oh, he is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd just like to put on the record that I would advise him not to speak, of course, because of the severity of his charges, but I cannot prevent him in doing so. So if you would like to address the court, I would like to stay on the record that it is against my legal advice, Your Honor.
Mr. Gillespie, I just want to remind you of your right to remain silent, remind you that this proceeding is recorded, remind you of your right that anything you say during this proceeding can be used against you throughout this and in any other cases, civil and criminal. Also remind you that there is a state attorney present. I'm happy to allow you to speak, but I want you to understand your right to remain silent.
I understand that, Your Honor.
All right. All right. In looking at the totality of this, I'm not going to set a bond because I think there is proof evident presumption great. So on the new charge, there is a no bond.
Your Honor, can I address that?
Okay, I'd also want to make clear of a condition of release because he does have a bond on some of the charges, and that is he is to have no contact with minors. Okay,
Your Honor, can we also put in there no contact with co-defendants?
and with co-defendants, yes. That's on all of the bonded ones. Okay,
And as well, can we have him surrender his passport as well?
yes. Did you hear the last request for surrender of passport? Within 24 hours. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gillespie.
Your Honor, can I please be heard on the presumption of guilt on this case? The state attorney
Okay,
has.
before you speak, Mr. Thompson?
Yes. Again, sir, because of the severity of your charges, I don't know if you're licensed to practice in the state of Florida.
Yes.
I would advise you not to speak, but I cannot prevent you in doing so. So I will put on the record that if my client wants to address the court, it's against my legal advice. I will just wait until you either hire a private attorney, or if you are going to be represented by our office, wait for the next hearing that should come in the subsequent weeks ahead, sir.
Your Honor, I'd like to speak.
All right. You've been advised of your rights. Do you understand your
Yes,
rights?
ma'am, I do.
Okay.
Your Honor, the state has got to have in their possession. I can't imagine how they don't have in their possession. The text that I sent to that girl at that hotel when I agreed that I would go there, the text said that I don't care if she doesn't trust me. If she needs a place to stay, I will try to help her. I do not want anything from her. And how they can get, I want to have sex with the girl from, I don't want anything from her. It just boggles my mind. I went there to help that girl try to find a place to live. That's what I was suckered into going there for.
Mr. Gillespie, I'm just going to interrupt you. I know you have a lot to say. The initial appearance on this is not evidentiary. This is a probable cause, as you know, is the lowest burden. Based on the arrest affidavit and the information I've been given, I do find probable cause. Also, under the nature of the charges, the complete narrative, I do find there is proof evident presumption grade.
Can I make one more statement, Judge? Your Honor, not to do with the case. I have severe asthma and I have COPD. I have Barrett syndrome, that my chest is on fire. They took all of my medicine. I can't get an inhaler. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't breathe last night.
What medications do you need?
I have Lanzaprozole, some kind of Prevacid or antacid for my Barrett syndrome, and that's
Are they
really
prescription?
Yes,
Mr.
yes, ma'am,
Gillespie?
they are.
Are they prescription
Yes,
medications?
yes, they are. I
All
also
right, so here's what we'll do. First of all, have you been given your right to a phone call?
no, I have not. I
All
made
right,
one
he is-
call when I first got here to let my wife know where I was, but I was not allowed to talk to anybody else, or my lawyer
All
or
right,
anybody.
so you have been given a phone call, but in the order, we are going to include that the defendant is to be provided his prescription medications by the end of today.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I really ask.
All right. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Eric Manuel Contreras. Is Gillespie. It is John Gillespie. Sir, what is your name?
Eric Escontrias.
All right, Mr. Escontrias, you are here under a writ for contempt of court issued by a child support hearing officer. The information I've been given is that you have a purge amount, because this is civil contempt, of $2,000. I'm also signing an order for your release and mandatory appearance on June 1st at 2 p.m. for this case only. Okay, so you have a purge of $2,000 and then a hearing on June 1st, 2020 at 2 p.m. Here's the order, Madam Clerk. All right, thank you, sir. Christine Morey.
Hi there.
Are you Christine Maury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you are here on a violation of probation and there is no bond. Thank you. Mr. Obrego?
Your Honor, his victim did come up to the jail. However, she didn't have a valid ID to be brought up to court.
All right, thank you. Sir, what is your name?
It's Joshua Obrego.
Mr. Obrego, you're charged with aggravated assault with a weapon. The public defender is appointed to represent you. I did find probable cause. I am setting bond at $5,000 with conditions no contact with the victim, and you must surrender all guns within 24 hours. Do you live with the alleged victim?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can have a one-time assist order to retrieve some personal items. All right, thank you, sir. Melanie Dunn. Are you Melanie Dunn?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Dunn, you are charged with possession of methamphetamine and battery arising out of a domestic violence. Is the victim present?
No.
Okay. I did find probable cause for both charges. Public defender is appointed to represent you. Your bond on the possession of meth is $1,000. Your battery bond is $500. Your release conditions are no contact with the victim. Do you live with the victim?
No.
Do you?
No,
Okay.
he came to me.
All right.
Okay.
So, and it looks like you are also out on bond, and that is revoked, the ROR.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Eddie Joseph Luna.
Can we skip him, Your Honor?
Pardon me? What is your name, sir?
Eddie Joseph Luna.
All right. Mr. Luna, you're charged with aggravated battery on a pregnant person. I did find probable cause. Is the alleged victim present?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. The public defender is appointed. Let's see. All right, looking at the history I've been given, I'm setting the bond at $500, conditions no contact with the victim. Do you live with the victim, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Gregory Palacios.
He's mental health, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
Gregory is mental health.
All right, thank you. We'll reset it. You want that pulled separate? Or just leave it in here? Okay. Shakeel Brown. Sir, what is your full name?
Shakeel Brown.
All right, Mr. Brown, you're charged with battery arising from domestic violence, and you're also charged with resisting an officer without violence. In the battery, is the victim present?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. There is probable cause. I am appointing the public defender on both cases.
Your Honor.
In the battery case, I'm setting a bond at $500. The resisting officer without violence charge, the bond is $500. Conditions of release are no contact with the victim. It looks like he is also out on bond on another case for a battery, and that bond is revoked. All right, thank you, sir.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Can I say something, please? When you say revoke,
I'm happy to have you say something. Just be reminded that you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you today and throughout the case and in other cases, and these proceedings are recorded.
yes, ma'am.
And there is an attorney here in the courtroom representing you.
All right. I was saying that.
All right, let's let your attorney say something first.
Sir, Nothing you say right now is going to help your case. The judge already made their ruling. This will be something for us to address at a later time. I would advise you not to speak to the judge at this time, but I am unable to prevent you in doing so. So if you would still like to address the court after legal advice not to, you may go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, since the bond was revoked, does that mean that it's set back again and I would have to bond out?
No, it's set at 0 and you will not be able to bond out. So what our office will have to do now is to get you before a judge, before the judge in that division to see if we could get that bond reinstated. But as of right now, you are not entitled to a bond.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Joseph Jefferson. Your name, sir?
Your Honor, who did you call?
What is it? Did I skip him?
Yes, Champion.
Oh, are you, who is next? Who is standing there?
Antoine Champion is next.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it stuck to the last one. Sir, could I have your name, please?
Antoine Champion, ma'am.
Mr. Champion, you're charged with battery related to a domestic violence. There is probable cause. Is there a victim present?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Would the victim please state your name?
Catherine Hicks.
Would you raise your right hand to be sworn in?
Do you swear to tell the truth, all truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, what is your date of birth?
5591.
Are you related to Mr. Champion?
We have 2 children together.
Okay, and are you the alleged victim?
Yes.
Are you in fear if Mr. Champion is released?
Yes.
Okay, and do you wish him to return? Do you reside with him?
Yes.
Do you want him to return home?
No.
All right. State, do you have any questions? Defense?
Oh, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Champion.
Yes, ma'am.
So there is probable cause. I'm setting your bond at $500. The conditions of release are you cannot have any contact with the victim. That's direct or indirect. You will be given a one-time assist order to retrieve any personal items.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Joseph Jefferson. Are you Joseph Jefferson?
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with battery related to a domestic violence. I did find probable cause. Is there a victim present?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, would the victim state your name?
Aline Compass.
Would you raise your right hand to be sworn in?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, what is your birth date?
January 9, 1996.
What is your relationship to Joseph Jefferson?
Boyfriend, girlfriend.
Do you reside together?
Yes.
Are you in fear if he is released?
No, ma'am.
Are you in fear of any imminent harm if he returns home?
No, ma'am.
PTR, what's his history?
He doesn't have any criminal history, Your Honor. No Florida history, no out-of-state history.
All right, looks like he qualifies for PTR, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So I am setting a bond, Mr. Jefferson. I'm setting the bond at $1,000. I'm looking at the allegations, and they are pretty significant, that you punched the victim in the head with a closed fist, and you also began to choke her so she was unable to breathe. Because of the severity of them, the bond is going to be $1,000. Okay.
Can I say something?
So I'm going to, you'll have bond, but the victim has indicated she's not in fear if you return, so you are to have no hostile contact with her. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Daryl Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you Daryl Jones?
Yes, I am.
You've been charged with battery related to dating violence. There is probable cause. Is there a victim present?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. He does qualify for PTR, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so I will grant the pretrial release, but as a condition of that, he is not to have any alcohol or illegal substances, and he is not to have any contact with the victim. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Robert Ortiz.
Mr. Ortiz, you're charged with battery out of a domestic violence. There is probable cause. Is the victim present?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. He does not qualify for PTR. There is probable cause. The public defender is appointed, and I'm setting bond at $500. No contact with the victim, no unsupervised contact with children under the age of 12. All right, thank you. Derrick Akers.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Akers, you're charged with possession of cocaine. I did find probable cause. The public defender is appointed to represent you.
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
bond is $1,000, and your bond on the other cases that you're out on bond is revoked. Thank you, sir. Anthony Asanya.
Mental health, Your Honor.
All right, we'll reset it. Otis Benson.
Last one.
Mental health is what she announced, yeah. What is your name, sir?
Otis Benson, ma'am.
Mr. Benson, you're charged with robbery. I did find probable cause. I am appointing the public defender to represent you. Your bond is set at $5,000. Condition is you are not to have any contact with the victim. Thank you, sir. Kern, Christopher Kern Blount.
Yes, ma'am. Blunt.
Blunt?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that how you pronounce it? All
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
thank you, sir. All right, sir, you are charged
Ma'am.
with 4 different counts. The first is burglary of a conveyance. Second is burglary of a dwelling. Third is resisting an officer without violence. Fourth is petty theft. I did find probable cause for each of the 4 charges. I am appointing the public defender to represent you. Your bond on the burglary of a conveyance is $150, burglary of a dwelling, $5,000, resisting an officer, $100, petty theft, $100. Condition of release is no return to the scene, no contact with the victim. Thank you, sir.
Can I say anything?
Jarvis Brandon Clayton.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you Mr. Clayton?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Clayton, you're charged with the first affidavit, you're charged with petty theft with 2 prior convictions. There is probable cause. The public defender is appointed. Your bond is set at $1,000. Condition is no return to the scene. You're also charged with no valid driver's license. There is probable cause. Your bond is $500. Thank you, sir. Cedric Coleman.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, are you Mr. Coleman?
Yes, I'm Cedric Coleman.
All right, Mr. Coleman, You are charged with 3 counts. The first is aggravated assault with a firearm. There is no bond. The second is battery. There's a $100 bond. The third is no valid driver's license. There's a $100 bond.
Can I ask a question?
Give me just 1 minute. You are appointed the public defender. Is he entitled to have a bond today, defense?
Yes, I believe
Thank you.
there was no PBLs from my reading
Right.
of the affidavits, Your Honor.
State, do you agree? That was my reading of it.
Your Honor, yeah, the big stack here, not in order.
I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check.
And just to make sure, what's the last name, Your Honor?
His last name is Coleman. PTR, what's his history?
He has no felonies, 3 misdemeanors, and that's his last conviction was in 2007 for bail jumping. Out-of-state convictions are traffic offenses, and an assault charge.
All right, I'm going to set a $5,000 bond, no contact with the victim. All right, thank you, Mr. Coleman.
I couldn't say nothing. Oh, because I live, my children and my fiance live at that address as well.
Okay, is the victim here?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so there's no contact with the victim. If he needs a one-time assist to retrieve some personal belongings, he can have that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're welcome. Stacy Lynn Cook.
Bonded, Your Honor.
Bonded. Juan Manuel DeLeon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is your full name?
Juan Manuel DeLeon.
Okay, Mr. DeLeon, you are charged with burglary of an unoccupied structure during the state of emergency, burglary of an unoccupied conveyance during a state of an emergency, health, safety, violation of disaster preparedness, emergency management. I did find probable cause for each of those charges. I am appointing the public defender. Your bond on the first burglary is going to be $1,000. On the second burglary, $150. And on the third, it will be $150, third charge. No return to the scene. Do you understand that? No return to Mullinex Ford.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. I see what they did. Okay, so there are 2, there's another unoccupied conveyance charge, and that will also be $150. Thank you for picking that up. All right, thank you, sir. Are you Mr. Garrett?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your full name?
Derrick Garrett.
Mr. Garrett, you are charged with trafficking greater than 10, less than 2,000 meth, and sale and delivery of greater than 10 grams of meth. I did find probable cause. For the first charge, your bond is $100,000. For the second charge, the bond is corrected. It should be $15,000. The public defender is appointed. And as a condition of release, you cannot possess any illicit substances. All right, thank you, sir. Are you Mr. Govan?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your full name?
Omar Maurice Govan.
Mr. Govan, you're charged with burglary of an occupied structure during a state of emergency and a petty theft. I did find probable cause. The public defender is appointed to represent you. I'm setting bond for the burglary at $1,500. The petty theft is at $250. I'm changing the bond on that because of the prior convictions. And you are not to return to the scene, which is the Whiting Turner Construction Company. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. Catherine Harbin.
Yes.
What is your full name?
Cat. Catherine Elizabeth Harbin.
All right, Ms. Harbin, you are charged under a warrant, battery of a person 65 years of age or older. The signing judge found there was probable cause and set bond at $1,500. No is the victim present?
No.
All right,
I live-
so you're not.
I live
You're
with
not.
her.
Okay, that's all right. So there's no contact with the victim, but you will be given a one-time assist order to retrieve some personal belongings.
I have a question.
I just want to interrupt you a minute. I'm happy to hear your question, but I want to remind you of your right to remain silent. And anything you say, even a question, can be used against you, not only today, but throughout this proceeding and in other proceedings. There is an attorney here representing you. Mr. Thompson, do you want to advise your client?
Madam, I would advise you not to speak on the record today, because of especially about the particular facts of your case. But if you have a question that doesn't relate to the facts of the case, you may go ahead and ask.
It doesn't relate to the case. I wish to call my friend in Birmingham to get her to make a cash bond, but that phones do not make long distance phone calls.
All right. Can we give her assistance in making that call? Can it be a one-time exception?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So we'll include that in the order. Okay. To give her that she is permitted to make one long-distance call for the purpose of raising her bond. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Jesney?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your full name?
Jusen Jesney.
Mr. Jesney, you're charged with trespassing on property, not a structure or conveyance. I did find probable cause. You're also charged with burglary of an occupied dwelling during the state of emergency and damaging property, criminal mischief under $200. I found probable cause for all charges. The trespassing, the bond is $500. Public defender is appointed. The criminal mischief is $250. And on the burglary, this was an occupied dwelling, so it's set at $3,500. No return to the scene, no contact with the victims. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Lundy,
Yes, ma'am.
what's your full name?
Mark Ilel Lundy.
Mr. Lundy, you're charged with burglary of an occupied dwelling and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. There is probable cause. The public defender is appointed to represent you. Your bond on the burglary count is $5,000. On the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, it's $2,500. Conditions of release, no return and no contact with the victim.
Yes,
All right, thank you. Nathan McCall.
He refused, Your Honor.
I'll waive, Your Honor.
All right, do you want me to announce the charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so this is pursuant to a warrant signed by a judge, and probable cause was found for burglary of a conveyance, bond set at $1,000, grand theft, third degree, bond set at $5,000. And then there is second affidavit, possession of methamphetamine. I find probable cause, bond $1,000, possession of cannabis, less than 20, $250 bond. Possession of drug paraphernalia, $500 bond, probable cause for all, and public defender is appointed for all charges. All right, now, are you Mr. Molina?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your full name?
Carlos Alberto Molina.
Mr. Molina, you're charged with felony battery. There is probable cause. The public defender is appointed. Your bond is $2,500. Conditions of release, no contact with the victim.
Your Honor, I have a quick question. I wanted to know why this constituted a felony battery.
See. State, do you want to be heard?
Your Honor, do you have a?
Well, here's, let me just check something, make sure. All right, he struck an individual in the face. That individual fell to the ground as a result of a strike that was hard enough to put him to the ground. There was a injury.
Your Honor, I believe that constitutes a misdemeanor battery. I think the only appropriate felony battery would be an aggravated battery, or if he was convicted twice in the past, I believe.
All right, let me just check his, he has a prior arrest for battery, DV. He has quite a few batteries.
But they have to be conviction.
Yeah, I'm looking on his convictions too here. Looks like it's Willis, drug charges. Yeah, I see the arrests. I don't see the convictions. State, would you respond?
Your Honor, what were the injuries in this case?
It was a laceration to the right arm.
I was asked that you find probable cause for misdemeanor battery, set bond at $500 to $1,000, Your Honor.
All right, let me hear from the state.
Your Honor, I think it would turn correct on what the injuries were. I don't know if that David really spells out.
Yeah, let me just. So what the affidavit describes is OFD responded to treat the victim. He refused to be transported. He advised he was going to seek medical attention on his own because he was in need of stitches. And that is really and then it says, due to Mr. Molina striking the victim in the face, causing permanent disfigurement to his bottom lip. And that's the description of the injuries.
I'm not sure what permanent disfigurement of the lip means. I think if it was serious enough, then that would be grounds for a felony charge.
Do you want more time?
Would the alternative be to find PC for misdemeanor battery?
That's what the defense is asking.
Then I would ask for 24 hours to see if I can get a little more detail with that.
Can I ask the client if he planned on bailing out today or today, sir?
Yes, I'm trying to.
Okay, I would just
Leave it at $2,500?
I'll leave it at $2,500 because I don't want to keep him in.
To delay it,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
I'll leave it at $2,500.
All right. I think your argument is well taken. Okay.
Trial issue.
Correct. All right. All right. So I understand the position. There is documentation, I think, that could support PC, but I also concur that it is. There's not a lot of details given on the stitches and the disfigurement. All right, but in light of the withdrawal, it'll stay at $2,500. Condition of release is no contact with the victim. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Don't have a lot of experience with this. Do I still need to get the supplemental?
No, he withdrew it, is what I heard, yeah. Cody Lee,
Yes,
are
Your
you
Honor.
Mr. Newcomer?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Newcomer, you're charged. You're charged with the following: drug possession, possession of a controlled substance, cocaine possession, possession of cocaine, resisting an officer with violence, drug equipment possession, drug paraphernalia, and possession of a controlled substance. State, did you see anywhere in there was a field test?
I did not, Your Honor.
Defense?
I did not, Your Honor. But I would ask you not to find probable cause, but the reason why I didn't want to address the issue because of the delay.
So do you want to waive any objections to probable cause and me announce the bonds?
What? It's only just the possession. Am I correct?
There's 3 charges, 3 possession charges. And the bonds would be $6,000 total.
6,000. I would just ask, instead of a probable cause objection, that you take that into consideration when it comes to the bond and enter a lower bond than what's listed.
All right, well, if there's no objection, I'm going to stay the bonds. Okay, because there is a description of the substances. What's lacking is there's no field test positives. There's no field testing that's documented.
I would waive the objection, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So with the waiver, the first charge of the possession, the bond stays at $2,000. Second, cocaine possession stays at $2,000. Resisting an officer with violence, there is probable cause. It's $1,000. Drug equipment possession, there is probable cause, $500. And with the waiver of the probable cause objection on the 5th possession, it will be at $2,000. He is also out on bond for drug charges. That is revoked. And a condition of release is he is not to have any alcohol. There is also a charge, some trafficking charge, vehicle traffic charges. So there's a DUI, unlawful blood alcohol, moving traffic violation of reckless driving, moving traffic violation, a Willis, non-moving traffic violation, failure to register the motor vehicle, non-moving, not attaching a license plate. There is probable cause for each of the 5 charges. Each will have a $500 bond individually. And a condition of release is no alcohol and cannot drive without a valid license. Thank you, everyone. Public defender is appointed. Mr. Park,
Yes.
what is your full name?
Gene Huang Park.
Mr. Park, you're charged with grand theft 3rd degree, greater than 5,000, less than 10,000. You're here under an arrest warrant signed by a judge, where that judge found probable cause. You do not qualify for PTR. The bond set by the judge is $2,500. No contact with the victim. All right, thank you, sir. Public defender is appointed. Are you Mr. Pugh?
No, ma'am.
I'm looking for Jamie Pugh.
What's the jail number, Your Honor? We don't have that on our docket.
It's a traffic.
What's his first name?
It's a traffic charge for Jamie, Jami, Levon Pugh, Pugh. Let me see if there's.
Do you have the booking number, Your Honor?
Right, that's what we're looking for. Let's see.
Can you spell that first name for me again?
Okay. The inmate number is 20009590.
Bonded, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you Mr. Quintero?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
What is your full name?
Roberto Gabriel Quintero.
Mr. Quintero, you're charged with robbery and petty theft. I found probable cause for both charges. Your bond on the robbery is $5,000. Your bond on petty theft is $100. The public defender is appointed, and a condition of release if no contact with the victim. Thank you, sir. Sir, what is your name?
Tyrone Robertson.
Okay, I was looking for Brian O'Neill Ramirez Carmona.
Bonded, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, Mr. Robertson, what is your full name?
Tyrone Anthony Robertson.
Mr. Robertson, you're charged with possession of meth. Your bond is $1,000. I did find probable cause, and the public defender is appointed. All right, thank you. Are you Mr. Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your full name?
Ulysses Smith.
All right, Mr. Smith, there are 13 counts. The charges. The first is possession of cocaine. There is probable cause. I'll state this. There is probable cause for all 13 counts. I am appointing the public defender. Possession of cocaine, your bond is $1,000. Possession of oxycodone, your bond is $1,000. Possession of Xanax, your bond is $1,000. Possession of meth, your bond is $15,000. Possession of a controlled substance greater than 10 grams, your bond is $15,000. Possession of a controlled substance, your bond is $1,000. Possession of cannabis, less than 20 grams, your bond is $250. Possession of prescription drug without a script, your bond is $250. Possession of prescription drug without a script, it's $250. And the remaining 4 counts are all the same. Possession of prescription drug without script, each has an individual bond of $250. Condition of release is no possession of illicit substances.
Your
Okay,
Honor-
thank you, sir.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir?
He qualifies for PTR, Your Honor.
State, do you want to be heard?
No, Your Honor.
What's his history?
He has, his history was expunged. He just have arrest history, no convictions. Arrest.
Any failure to appear?
Some drug history, possession of marijuana and carrying a concealed weapon, possession of cocaine, possession of oxycodone.
How old are those?
I don't have an year or a time of arrest on those. I can look that up for you, Your Honor.
Well, does he have any, on my note, it says there's 0 failure to appear. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Because there are no failure to appear, I will grant the PTR.
Fine.
All right. And the state doesn't object.
Do you have
All
any
right. Thank
conditions?
you. The condition is what I announced as far as cannot possess any illicit substances.
And, Your Honor, just to be clear, that history that was read out, those were not convictions.
No, that was just arrest.
Oh, they were arrests. Yes. Thank you for the clarification, though, on the record. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
What, are you Mr. Summers?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your full name?
Dwayne Warren Summers.
You've been charged with battery on a uniformed medic or security officer and petty theft with 2 prior convictions. Excuse me. I did find probable cause. Public defender is appointed. The battery charge, your bond is $2,500. Your petty theft is $150 bond. Conditions of release are no contact with the victim and no return to the Walmart where this happened. In addition, it looks like he's out on bond. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and that is revoked. All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Carroll?
Bonded, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Lee? What is your full name?
DeAndre Roberts Lee.
Mr. Lee, you're here under a failure to appear, and there was a bond of $250 set by the judge.
Yes, ma'am.
And public defender, if they're not already representing you, are appointed. All right, thank you, sir. I'm looking for Mr. Williams.
He's PTR.
Could you hear him?
He got released.
What?
Trial release, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
He got released.
Release, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. What is your name?
Kayla Fields.
All right, what about Amal Douglas?
We have you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
I waive his appearance, Your Honor.
All right, would you like me to announce the charges?
Yes.
All right, so this is for Amal Jamad Douglas. The public defender is appointed and has waived his appearance. He's charged with trespass in a structure. The bond is $250. Resisting an officer without violence. The bond is $500. Refusal to leave a hotel after notice. The bond is $250. Probable cause is found for all charges. Conditions are release are no return to the Econo Lodge on South OBT. All right, thank you. And Ms. Fields, would you give me your full name?
Kayla Renee Fields.
Ms. Fields, you are charged with petty theft.
Yes, ma'am.
I did find probable cause. Your bond is $250. Public defender is appointed to represent you. Condition of release is you cannot return to the Walmart located at 8101 South John Young Parkway.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Currently out on bond, Your Honor.
I'm not going to take any action on the bond.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are you Mr. Holloway?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is your full name, Mr. Holloway?
Cleefus Lewis Holloway, Jr.
All right, Mr. Holloway, you're charged with trespassing in a structure or a conveyance. I did find probable cause. Public defender is appointed, and your bond is $250. With the condition of release, you cannot return to the scene. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, what is your name?
Osvaldo Alexander Coronel Rosario.
All right, sir, you're charged with trespassing in a structure or a conveyance. There is probable cause. I'm appointing the public defender. Your bond is $250. Condition of release is you cannot return to the scene. Also, you are on bond for burglary of an unoccupied dwelling, and that bond is revoked. Okay, thank you, sir.
Honor, there are offer to resolve that trespass.
Is there? All right, thank you. It's spelled Quinonesrosario. Okay, Quinones Rosario. It's Quinones Rosario. It actually, it's, yes, okay. Are you Mr. Rogers?
I am.
Yeah, what is your full name, sir?
DeMark Lewis Rogers.
All right, Mr. Rogers, you're charged with trespass on property after a warning. There is probable cause. Your bond is $1,000. You cannot return to the scene at Saltgrass Restaurant on International Drive, and the public defender is appointed to represent you. Thank you, sir. Are you Mr. Santana? What is your full name?
Anthony Santana. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Santana. You are charged with petty theft. There is probable cause. Your bond is $250. Condition of release is no return to the Wawa on South Orange Blossom Trail, and the public defender is appointed to represent you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we're in the reset now. Is Mr. Crandall available for court today?
Medical, Your Honor.
Okay, so it'll be carried over till tomorrow again. And that is Timothy Landon Crandall for the attorneys. Do you need that? Okay. So anybody else we've missed at the BRC? BRC, is there anybody that you think we didn't call?
He's not here, but you didn't call him. His name was Danielle.
How do you spell it?
Last name is Laltoo. First name is Daniel, Daniel. He was a felony domestic violence.
Didn't have any paperwork on him. You have a case number?
Oh, she didn't have it.
2009-594.